You've entered the red light files. Let's begin. Story 1. My best friend went into the forest alone, but he wasn't alone in the videos. I've gone back and forth on whether or not I should post this. It doesn't feel right to keep it to myself anymore. Especially after what I saw in the last video. The trip. Last spring, me and two of my closest friends, Ben and Travis, decided to go camping for the weekend. Nothing fancy. Just a few days off the grid to hike, unplug, and pretend we weren't completely fried by work and life. Ben was the nature guy. He was the one who planned everything: trail maps, gear, first aid, fire starters, all that. We drove upstate to a remote patch of forest where Ben used to hike with his dad. No cell service. No marked trails. Just wilderness. Exactly what we wanted. He went off alone. Second day, around noon, Ben decided to explore a side path off the main trail. He said he remembered a waterfall or a cave or something cool worth filming. We didn't think much of it. He took his backpack, GoPro, water, and said he'd be back in a few hours. But he didn't come back. By sundown, we started calling his name. Walking the trail. Searching. By midnight, we had to admit he was missing. The search. The next morning, we hiked back to the car, drove 45 minutes to the nearest ranger station, and reported everything. Search teams went out for 3 days. Helicopters. Dogs. Drones. Nothing. They found no signs of struggle. No blood. No torn clothing. Not even a footprint off trail. He was just gone. Eventually the search was called off. Voluntary disappearance is what they wrote in the report. But that didn't sit right with me. Ben wouldn't have just vanished like that. Not unless something made him. They found his pack. About 6 weeks later, a hiker found a backpack half buried under leaves, maybe 10 miles from where we camped. Inside, a mostly dead phone. A journal. Some protein bars. His GoPro. No blood. No torn straps. No signs of struggle. Just like he'd set it down and walked off. The ranger mailed the bag to Ben's parents. They called me the next day. The videos. There were 7 files on the GoPro. The first 5 were nothing special: shots of trees, birds, him talking about the hike, joking about Travis's snoring. The 6th video is where it starts to go wrong. Video 6, 10 minutes and 32 seconds. He's walking through thick trees. The sun's going down. He looks uneasy. At one point, he stops and says, "I think I looped back. Everything looks the same." Then he turns the camera to the left, scans the trees. And that's when I saw it. A figure. Far in the background. Not moving. Just standing. Barely visible between the trees. Ben doesn't react. Doesn't notice. He keeps walking. Video 7, 4 minutes and 19 seconds. This one's mostly audio. Ben's breathing heavily. It's dark now. The camera flickers. He's whispering. "I saw someone. Not a ranger. Didn't say anything. Just standing there." There's a long pause. Then, "They're following me." A snapping twig. A sound like something brushing bark. Then Ben turns the camera toward himself. He's pale. Eyes wide. Whispering fast. "If someone finds this, don't follow the river. It leads to them." They're not. Then the video cuts. Black screen. The glitch. I watched that last file at least 10 times. And on the 9th, I noticed something I hadn't before. At the very end, literally the final frame, the GoPro catches a flash of movement behind him. Paused, enhanced, frame by frame. It's not Ben. It's someone else, standing 5 feet behind him. No face. Just dark clothing, arms at sides, head slightly tilted. Watching. Final note. The journal in his pack had random phrases. Circles don't lead back, they lead down. I wasn't supposed to see it. The trees are wrong at night. They look like people until they get close. I don't know what happened to Ben, but I know what I saw in that video. And I know I'm not going back to those woods. Ever. Story 2. My friend found a hidden door in his apartment, then he stopped replying. This happened about 3 months ago. I still don't know what to think. My best friend Aaron moved into a new apartment earlier this year, one of those older buildings downtown that used to be a hotel or something. Tall ceilings, creaky floors, weird smells baked into the walls. You know the type. It was cheap, and he liked that it had character. I thought it looked haunted. The first call. One Friday night, he FaceTimed me. He was half laughing, a beer in hand, pointing the camera at his living room wall. Dude, you're not gonna believe this. He'd been trying to mount a shelf when he noticed the drywall felt hollow, softer than the rest. He tapped around and realized there was a gap, like a space behind it. I told him it was probably just a boarded-up vent or an old maintenance shaft. But he kept poking around. It's shaped like a door, man. There's even a seam. He said he'd try to pry it open in the morning. We joked about him finding a bag of money, or bones. I wish it had been either of those. The last time I saw him. Saturday, around 3 p.m., he called again. He'd pulled off the panel, and behind it was a narrow wooden door. Old. Gray. It had no handle, just a circular indentation where one used to be. It's not even on the other side of the wall. My bathroom backs up to this spot. But this doesn't match the floor plan at all. He aimed the phone flashlight into the crack between the door and the frame. I think it leads into a stairwell. I can't see the bottom. I told him to leave it alone. That he didn't know how stable it was. He laughed. I'm just gonna check. Real quick. I'll call you from inside if there's reception. He flipped the camera to selfie mode and winked. Then the screen went black. No response. I waited maybe 30 minutes. Called him back. No answer. Another hour. Texted. Nothing. At first, I figured he lost signal. Then I drove to his place. I knocked. Rang. Called again. Still nothing. From the hallway, I couldn't hear anything inside, no footsteps, no movement. Just silence. I called the police. I told them I hadn't heard from my friend in hours and that I was worried. They checked the apartment. He wasn't there. But his phone was. So was his wallet. Keys. Laptop. Shoes. The only thing missing was Aaron. And the wall in the living room? It looked sealed. No gap. No panel. No door. Just a smooth stretch of drywall. Like nothing had ever been there. The super claimed it was never open. The building superintendent came in with the officers. Said the apartment hadn't had renovations since 2009. Said he'd never seen any secret door or back passage in any unit. When I showed him the screenshot from our FaceTime, the photo of the panel half open, his expression changed. He asked for a copy, then walked away, muttering something about calling the owner. That was the last time I saw him too. 2 weeks later. Aaron's case went cold fast. No signs of foul play. No forced entry. No activity on his bank accounts. I visited his place again. Talked to neighbors. Some remembered him. Others said they never saw anyone move in. The weirdest part? A woman on the floor below told me she heard footsteps above her every night. Until the night he disappeared. Now? Silence. Final message. Last week, I got a text from his number. First activity in over 70 days. It said, "Don't open the door." That was it. No typing dots. No follow-up. I tried calling. Disconnected. Story 3. He said there were 2 of me, and then he was gone. I don't expect anyone to believe this. Honestly, I barely believe it myself. But something happened with my best friend Caleb that I can't explain, and ever since, I've had this creeping feeling that I'm being watched, from too close. If you're reading this, all I ask is, trust your instincts. Even if they're telling you something insane. Because Caleb was right. There's something wrong with me. The warning. It started subtly. Caleb and I have known each other since middle school. We've been through everything together, bad breakups, college, job hunting, renting our first shitty apartment. About 4 months ago, he started acting strange. Jumpy. Staring too long. Asking weird questions like, "Do you remember that time in 9th grade you broke your arm?" When I said yeah, he pressed further. "Are you sure it was your right arm?" It was. I even have the scar. But he kept testing me. Showing me old photos. Asking what I remembered about them. Where we were. What we said. One night I finally snapped. "Why are you interrogating me?" He hesitated, looked at me hard, then said, "Because I don't think you're you anymore." The first incident. He sent me a voice message the next morning. His voice was shaking. "You were outside my building last night. I saw you. You didn't say anything. Just stood there. But you were texting me at the same time. From your apartment." I checked my messages. I had, in fact, been texting him from home. Watching Netflix. Didn't leave the couch. I sent him a picture of my door lock and timestamp. Even video called to prove I was inside. He just stared at the screen. Then who the hell did I see? He got worse. Caleb became obsessed. Started keeping notes. Tracking times we spoke, screenshots, timestamps of everything. Once, I caught him recording our conversations. He claimed it was for proof. He told me things like, "Your voice is different. Not a lot. But enough. Sometimes you forget things we just talked about. Your eyes don't track the same way. Your reflection blinks wrong." I laughed it off. Told him he needed sleep. That maybe he was overworked. That was a mistake. The last time I saw him, we met at our usual diner. I offered to pay. He didn't touch his food. He looked tired. Like he hadn't slept in days. Then, without warning, he pulled out a manila envelope and slid it across the table. Everything I've been tracking. Logs. Photos. Audio. He looked around, leaned in, and whispered, "There are 2 of you." I tried to argue, say something comforting, but he grabbed my wrist. Hard. "You're not him. Not always. I don't know when the switch happens, but I've seen it. Felt it." He left in a hurry. Didn't say goodbye. He went missing the next day. Didn't show up to work. Didn't answer calls. I reported it to the police. They searched his apartment. Found his phone, laptop, wallet, keys, everything. Everything except the envelope. I told them about the theories, the paranoia, the 2 of me stuff. They marked it as a possible mental health crisis and let it go. But I couldn't. Because the night he disappeared, my door was unlocked when I got home. I found a note. Under my pillow. Written in Caleb's handwriting. "If you're reading this, I'm gone. I don't know what you is anymore. If the other one finds this, tell him I tried." Final detail. Yesterday, while backing up my phone, I found a photo I didn't remember taking. It was blurry. Dim, from the front-facing camera. It showed me sleeping. Except I was home alone. And the timestamp? Exactly 2 minutes after I turned off the lights.
If you made it this far, thanks for staying with me. Some of these stories, they stay with you longer than you'd expect. Take care of yourself out there. And as always, stay safe.